Hello, my name is Kent Field, and thank you for tuning into this YouTube channel, The Bible versus Opinions. God bless you in your search for the truth. While all people have opinions on many subjects, including the Bible and religion, not all opinions carry the same weight or value. For example, would you go to a plumber for his advice on brain surgery? Would you go to a mechanic for his advice on heart surgery? The point is, not all opinions carry the same weight or value on a particular subject. That's why I'm not offering you my mere opinion, but Bible answers alone. So here's the challenge. Are you open to learning beyond your current understanding and knowledge of the Bible? If so, then this channel is for you. If these studies have helped you to grow in your understanding of the Bible, or even life itself, please like and subscribe and share this channel with others so that they too may be challenged and grow in their understanding of the Scriptures.
It's really important when we nail these things down, and we need to be willing to stand on the truth. Now, Jesus wasn't the Son of God. He was just a really nice guy. He was a great man, some people will say. A great man doesn't say, I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one gets to the Father in heaven except through me. Just a great man doesn't say that. Either somebody's speaking the truth, or he's a lunatic, or a liar. Lunatic, liar, or the Son of God. That's your choice. If you look at his claims, and then why did they crucify Jesus? Because he knew how to win friends and influence people? Why did they crucify him? Why did a whole city of people say, crucify him, crucify him? And in history, Flavius Josephus, a Jewish general who became a Roman historian, wrote the Antiquities of the Jewish people. A Jewish historian of Jesus' day writes that he was in fact crucified at the instigation of the Jews under Pontius Pilate. Period. That's just history. It's just history. It's not opinion. There are people who say, you know what, you can't even prove that Jesus ever really existed. There are people that will say that and have said that, and I have to pull out all the history books. Will Durant, Arnold Toynbee, David Flusser. Did I say Sir William Ramsay? Okay, these were atheists who were also prominent historians, as well as H.G. Wells, who wrote the Outline of History of Man. These writings confirm that Jesus did live and was crucified, and that his tomb was empty on the third day. All these men. Now, they try to explain it away. They try to give you alternatives. For example, H.G. Wells, in his Outline of History, he says, concerning the man Jesus, we must write history and not theology. Okay. And then he goes about and says, unfortunately, the only source material from which we can write anything about what Jesus said or did are the New Testament documents. Then he devotes hundreds and hundreds of pages to Jesus' miracles and the things he said and did. What did he just unwittingly confirm, even though he was an atheist? That the New Testament was a reliable enough history for him to document what was in that book and refer to it in his Outline of History of Mankind. He confirms the New Testament documents as reliable history, at least reliable enough for him to use as a reference material. And then here's the stupid thing. He'll then discredit the very source material that gives him the right to say anything about what Jesus said or did in the first place. For example, he'll give the explanation that when Jesus walked on water, it was really in the midst of a storm, and that a shack had blown down, possibly, and that he surfed out to the experienced fishermen and convinced these men of the Sea of Galilee, that he was hanging 10 on a door. Actually, that he was walking on water. Then, of course, Peter started to walk on the water too until he looked around and realized where he was and began to sink. But he tries to explain, at least partially, that event by saying that Jesus surfed out on a door. I ask, what event? The event you write hundreds and hundreds of words about, trying to explain an alternative explanation concerning an event that you got only from the New Testament. And rather than accept the New Testament as reliable history that gives you the right to say anything about it in the first place, you try to make up something else. That's even tougher to believe than that Jesus just walked on the water. Especially concerning the events before, during, and following that event. Because then that's another thing. If you take all the miracles of Jesus and you say, okay, you know what we want to do? We want to strip out the miracles of Jesus and just deal with his teaching, the man, his daily life, the events surrounding his life. I challenge you, as I have been challenged to do, and I have done, and you can try to do it. You go through all the miracles. Now, there are not only the miracle, but specific events that led up to that miracle. And specific events and conversations and interactions that followed that miracle. So now you don't just strip out the miracle. If you're going to rip out those verses, you have to rip out the before and afters. When you're done doing that, you're left with almost no Gospels at all. Empty books. Very few pages. Another interesting fact, you don't sound like you have the love of Jesus in your heart. Now, anybody that's ever said that to me knows nothing about Jesus, hasn't read their New Testament, hasn't read the Gospels, hasn't read about the preaching of Jesus or his apostles, or the things they said and did. But they have this vision of Jesus from the movies. They have this vision of Jesus from coloring books. They have this vision of Jesus from a play called Godspell or Jesus Christ Superstar. Rather than the only source material that gives them the right to say anything about what Jesus said or did, the New Testament documents. And confirmed by atheists and ancient Jews and modern-day atheists and ancient pagans, by the way. Suetonius, Caius Plinius Secundus, Marabar Serapion. People that also confirm other events that were also recorded in the New Testament documents as reliable history, including the darkness at the cross, at the crucifixion when Jesus was crucified, that covered the earth. Interesting. So, again, they try to explain it with a lunar eclipse, or solar eclipse rather. However, we can go back in time and see when solar eclipses occurred. It happens like clockwork. There was nothing scheduled at that time, or nothing that happened at that time. So much for their explanations. I'm spending time on this because I want to address just a couple of things that, as we continue our study of premillennialism versus preterism versus the truth. I can't stand all these sophisticated words that people come up with to try to prove how much they know about the Bible and demonstrate how little they know from the Bible. They know a lot about what they read from other people about what they saw in certain verses in the Bible and their explanations, but there's a big, big difference. Now, I want to give you an example. I had a discussion with somebody recently about instruments and music in the church. Now, you've probably seen churches where they've got rock bands up on the stage. They got drums and guitars and bass guitars, some of them trumpets, or just a big old pipe organ, right? They've got all kinds of things like that. And you say, the Bible makes no prohibition against such things. Well, there's a whole study that we're going to do on that subject. Because there really are exclusive statements. That when you make a statement for a specific thing, you exclude the other things. You're giving, when you make an affirmative, I don't have to prove the negative. You have to prove the positive or your practice. I don't have to show you why I'm not practicing something. You have to show me why I need to be.
Thanks for being a part of that study segment. I promise you that, Lord willing, there's more to come. With the understanding that the mind can only absorb what the seat can endure, many of these studies have been broken up into a series of bite-sized segments. So be sure to look for the next segment in each Bible study subject, so you won't miss out on any important information. Please like and subscribe if you feel that this lesson's helped you, and God bless you in your search for truth.